I've even joked in interviews that he ain't going to do nothing to me because when has he ever done anything? So this time I might be having a look at. But
pro boxing fans here in Riyadh, Eddie Hearn, big one this time around. You've done a fair few fights. Obviously, your man AJ in some big fights. This is the biggest of the lot. Not that your man's in it, but you know, when you've flown into Riyadh, have you got that sort of feel so far of it being one of the biggest fights in the century?
Yeah, I think, you know, obviously attendance-wise, it's going to be a great crowd. We've seen bigger crowds for other fights, but focus-wise and attention-wise, globally, this is going to be massive on Saturday. I mean, you know, the stuff yesterday or Monday or whenever it was, and just the fact that it's the undisputed heavyweight world championship. You know, it's two great world champions finally unifying the division for all the belts, and a moment in history. So, yeah, look, I've got two fighters defending their world titles on the card, but I'm here also as a fan to watch the main event, and obviously one eye on the future, but just very happy that His Excellency's made it happen, and we're seeing a fight that we really need to see.
Let's talk about your two fighters before we talk about the main event. Opetaia, the baddest man on the planet. Yeah. The guy's just super cool. You know, carries an aura about him that, you know, he's a dangerous fighter. Got the style to prove, and seems to be likened by the Saudis. How big a fighter can Opetaia become?
I love him. I mean, I think he's a dangerous man. You know, you can see it in the eyes, and this is a very tough fight for him. You know, a lot of people don't realise that the first fight between Bradis and Opetaia was a fight of the year contender. Bradis broke Jai's jaw in two places, and he fought nearly like 80% of the fight with a broken jaw. So, you know, he's a real test, Bradis, and two great performances from Jai recently against Zorro and against Jordan Thompson. But they're, you know, good domestic heavyweights, right, cruiserweights right now. Talking about an elite guy in Bradis. It's going to be a very tough fight, but I expect him to win the fight by stoppage, and you know, I want to see him challenge for those other belts. With Joe, it's a tough fight against Kakachi. You know, I'm a bit pleased for Joe that it's taken a little bit longer than expected with the delay to the Fury fight, because I think that fight came around very quickly, and I think he'll be in great shape this time around. He wants to make a statement because, like everybody, you know, when they get their opportunity to fight here, they want to stay here. Yeah. You know, they want to be on the next show and the one after that. Financially, obviously, it's rewarding, and these are where the huge fights are taking place. So he wants to excite and entertain, and I believe he'll retain his world championship on Saturday.
Eddie, you've grown around boxers, obviously with your dad Barry promoting some great fighters and being involved just in boxing when there was some iconic figures about. Talk to me about Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk. Where do they rank in regards to the talents that you've seen with your eyes throughout your whole lifetime?
I think we only really appreciate fighters when they've gone. Okay. Like, you know, I never watched the likes of Leonard and Hearns and Duran live, but even when they were fighting, it's now that you look back on that era and go, they were just incredible. So I've only seen Tyson Fury box live against John McDermott at the Brentwood Centre. I can't remember if it was one or two. I might have gone to both fights, but definitely one. I think it was two. And when he stopped him. And I'm looking forward to seeing him live and up close in this fight. I've written him off before. I never really used to rate him that much, which is crazy because he's gone on to become the best heavyweight in the world. And he's a very, very good fighter. Usyk is a generational great already. You know, what he's done, obviously he's won the Olympic gold, but what he did at cruiserweight, then he moved to heavyweight and he became the unified world champion. So these guys, obviously I'm AJ biased, but these guys are probably the 1 and 2 heavyweights in the world right now on paper, and they're duking it out to see who's number one, and that's what you want to see in the sport. So I think when we talk about greats, I think the winner of Saturday is actually a generational heavyweight great. Like you've got to give him the credit to say they're the man. You know, if it's Fury, still want to see if he can beat AJ. But look, Usyk's beating AJ. You know, if Usyk was to beat Fury and beat AJ and beat everybody he did at cruiserweight, like, you know, but two outstanding fighters, two greats really. But Saturday will show
Mm-hmm.
who is the king.
When did you get a first whiff of Oleksandr Usyk? You worked with him in the past. When did someone approach you and say, listen, this guy, he's going to cause some major trouble in the division?
I saw him win gold in London, and when he was fighting in the WSBs, you could see how good he was. Everybody knew how good Usyk was. Turned pro, didn't quite have... It was weird, I think he signed with Top Rank, and they didn't really push him that hard. And then he left Top Rank, signed with us. Obviously, previous to that, saw him in the World Boxing Super Series. Looked very good, obviously. Come out of that. We put him in with Tony Bellew. We signed him. Then he fought Chaz Witherspoon, rather. He was supposed to fight, I can't remember the other name, he failed a drugs test and he pulled out of the fight from the commission. Then he fought Derek Chisora. And then he fought AJ twice. So we were involved in, 5 or 6 fights with him. Brilliant fighter. Incredible footwork. A good man. I want Fury to win this fight for many reasons, but Usyk is a very good man, and I like his team a lot as well. But yeah, been a good fighter for a long, long time.
The best Fury versus the best Usyk. What happens?
Fury wins. That for me is the key to this fight. I keep changing my mind and so forth, but I think if the best Tyson Fury turns up, I think he beats Oleksandr Usyk.
I quickly do want to talk about the altercation that occurred on Monday. You love a bit of drama, Eddie, and we've always been around a few things where tables have been thrown and people have gone into each other. But this one is a bit different. There was a bit of bleeding going on. I know John's apologised, but a lot of people in the UK call fraud. Simon Jordan calling it thuggish. People are calling for him to be arrested, whatever else. What did you make of it? Obviously, you weren't there firsthand, but what did you make of it looking at it from the screen?
Well, look, I think it was wrong, and I think it was out of character of John Fury. People say, what do you mean? But actually, he's talked a lot in the past, but he's never laid a hand on anyone. And I've even joked in interviews that he ain't going to do nothing to me, because when has he ever done anything? So this time I might be having a look at. But so in that respect, out of character, I mean, you can't say anything, but he shouldn't have done it. And I think he knows that, and that's why he's apologised and so forth. But I would say that emotions are high, and it's his son, and they're fighters, and we keep putting these guys in situations and confrontations that when something like that happens, we can't be massively surprised, can we? That, it means a lot. So yeah, I think shouldn't have happened. Was a mistake. Glad he's apologised. Let's get on with the fight. Let's make sure they both make it in the ring. But let's keep the intensity and the will to win and the desperation to win, but peacefully.
Final quick two from myself. I know you're quite busy today. Gervonta Tank Davis doesn't seem to really like you at all. It's been a little while now that you two.
Yeah, well, it's sad really, because I don't really give a fuck, to be honest with you. But I don't like not getting on with people, because I think if you meet me and we spend time together, you'll actually go, oh, he's all right, actually. But the problem is with these guys, Gervonta will get told stuff by people, obviously, who don't like me, that, oh, he did this and that, you can't trust that guy. And the reality is, speak to fighters I work with and ask what kind of job we do for them. I mean, we are the most trustworthy company in the sport, in my opinion. But unfortunately for Gervonta, there's so many things to respond to. But someone's told him something, or he's read something on Twitter, and that's him away with the fairies, So he builds his own opinions based off Twitter and off people with agendas. So yeah, I don't think we're ever really going to get on, but who knows?
The reason why I asked you that was Chris Eubank Jr. put that little clip up after, I think it was the Frank Martin press conference that you had, where he was talking about you, and Chris has put it up there for a reason, where he's insinuating that you've let Conor Benn go into fights when he's tested positive, and obviously he put that certain emoji there. What did you make of Eubank putting that out?
There's so much hypocrisy in the sport. Firstly, I don't let a fighter go into a fight. That's the job of a commission. Contractually, we have to wait on the result of the British Boxing Board of Control. Now, for some reason, they wanted to take over a month to make a decision. And when they did, the fight was pulled, it never took place. But I can't pull a fight without the British Boxing Board of Control making a ruling. So when Gervonta says that, saw him. You know, what was it? What was his name? It's like, no, mate. Let me explain the situation. The tests go to the commission. Contractually, you let them deal with it. We're not a governing body, right? We're not a disciplinary. We don't have a disciplinary procedure like a commission. Wait for them to come back, and they did. For Chris Eubank, during that period, Chris Eubank looked at the test with his promoter and doctors, and Chris Eubank was happy for the fight to proceed. That's all completely pointless, because the board made the decision, the commission. But then, when the commission made the decision, Chris Eubank was still willing for the fight to take place, but wanted an extra £1 million. So, like, it's talked bollocks. And we said, oh, you asked me how much you... No, I never had a conversation with you. The only conversation I had with Chris Eubank Jr. was in his room to tell him the fight was off and to apologise that the fight had fallen through at this stage. That's it. So the fact is that Chris was happy for the fight to go ahead. Then, even when the board said no, he was still happy for the fight to go ahead, just wanted another £1 million. But it's 2 years ago. And the fact it's still going on is quite incredible. Let's focus on current people that have failed drugs tests, who maybe will get the same kind of focus and treatment as Conor Benn has got.
Talk about Ryan Garcia, who's actually coming to Riyadh.
I mean, that's a process he's got to go through. I DM'd Ryan the other day. I said, what? Because I'm saying, I hope Ryan's innocent. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But what we can't ignore is the fact of science, which is when he fought Devin Haney, he had performance-enhancing drugs in his system. But I'm hoping that was unlucky. I'm hoping that was contamination. I'm hoping he wouldn't cheat in the ring. And I give him that benefit of the doubt. But what you can't do is say, Eddie Hearn done it. Or it's a conspiracy theory. Or whatever. It's just science, mate. It was in your body. Now you've got to prove why. And I've been there before. And when people say, yeah, but he backed Conor Benn, because I believe Conor Benn, because I know Conor Benn, and I've spent so much time around Conor Benn. I don't know Ryan Garcia, but I'm still willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. Go through the process with the New York State Athletic Commission and do your thing.
Just a quick one. I don't want to sort of push it too much, but Conor Benn, we know the news right now. What's the latest with that? Is it going to be a backdated ban? Are you going to sit down and everyone have talks? What is going to go on now?
Sometimes you have to conform, even though you don't want to. Okay. You know, I mean, and that's up to Conor and his legal team. Like, one of the reasons he's in this mess is because he's battled so hard and believed so much in his innocence, and so have we, and we've spoken out about it many times. But I can't really say too much because that's with his legal team. And what I do know is it's 2 years in a week or so since the test. So again, I don't see anyone getting treated like this, but it is what it is, and hopefully we can see him back in the ring soon.
Cool, Eddie. We'll see you at the public workouts, I think, in about an hour and a bit. Take care and speak to you soon. Top man.